How many of you ever heated with wood? Raise your hand. That's what I thought. See, a lot of you. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about in the summer. You go out to cut firewood. And you know what I mean when I say, if you cut your own firewood, it'll warm you twice. So we used to cut our own firewood. And my daddy and my grandpa would take me when I was just a little shaver. And in the summer, we'd get on that Alice Chalmer tractor in our little trailer, and we'd go out in the woods, and we'd cut firewood. Whew, it was hot, and it was good work. Now, I wasn't very big. And Daddy, he hooked up a buzz saw on a power drive off of this Alice Chalmer D17. And what we do is we cut pole wood for part of our wood, and we'd line up, and the three of us would take these poles and we'd walk them into this buzzsaw. OSHA wasn't there. Didn't know nothing about this OSHA stuff, okay? and so that day, we buzzed up a bunch of poles. My daddy was cutting down another big tree. My grandpa was splitting bolts of wood. No man could swing them all like him and hit that little crack. He'd just lay them open. I learned at his feet. But as a young boy, I'm not sure, maybe 10, my job was over periodically. They let me go off and entertain myself. And you know, country boys, this will shock some of you, but I'm a country boy. Country boys entertain themselves in interesting ways. We had a little sport, some of you will know what I'm talking about, called riding down saplings. Now, the way that art is played out is that you pick you a good tree, a sapling, and you climb up. Pick hickory if you can. They're real limber. Don't do black oak. I can tell you all. See me later, I'll tell you what not to climb. Because what you're doing is you climb to the top of this tree and you're starting to swing back and forth. Back and forth. Now, this is the reason you don't pick a black oak or something like that. My uncle had the top break out of a tree on him when he was a kid. He wasn't right after that. It'll thump you pretty hard. Because what you do is when you get that tree going back and forth, you give a big yell, you hang on blood tight, you throw yourself out of that tree, and that sapling rides down, and you go all the way to the ground. And it's fun, or you get almost to the ground. Pick your tree careful. Well, that day I had ridden down several saplings. I was eyeing my next conquest, a fine hickory. And as I was about to step forward, I was oblivious to the most important fact of the day. My right foot was sitting square over the hole of the largest ground yellow jacket's nest on this side of the Milky Way galaxy. It was huge. It was monster big, the biggest yellow jacket nest. And now, how many of you know what I'm talking about, ground yellow jackets? Yeah, see, we all got them stories. Well, I was doing good. All them yellow jackets that wanted to go back in the hole were being very patient that day. They were forming up into squadron flights around my feet. But them little buggers that were down in the hole were awfully mad. They were so mad they had formed up in phalanxes. And when I stepped forward and bloused my trousers pant over that hole, they didn't just stop there. They came boiling up out of the heart of the earth. A yellow torrent of death on a stick. Each with a stinger freshly hot dipped in the hotter regions of the Hadean realm, and covered me instantaneously, and I didn't know what had me. I just knew I had been got. I started screaming. I hollered, and finally, it took me a little bit to realize that I was covered up with yellow jackets, and I took off running as fast as I could go. Whew! I was doing, almost by actual measurement, 2.7 Mach. I mean, after I came down to the ground, I took off. I was leaving a vapor trail behind me. I was going so fast, I know I was going beyond the speed of sound. By actual evidence from my grandpa, I was out, you know how you go, the Doppler effect, where you outrun your words? Woo! I was outrunning my words because I was running toward Daddy and Grandpa, and I was yelling at the top of my lungs, bees! Now, as before I had a degree in biology, I was taxonomically challenged. They were really from the order of Hymenoptera. They weren't bees, but buddy, they were hot on me, and I was yelling bees, and my grandpa thought I was yelling bears. And he just sat back and spit Garrett snuff because he knew there weren't no bears out there. Didn't bother me, buddy. I ran past him so fast his old overalls just did this because I wouldn't hit it to Grandpa. I said it to Daddy. My dad had just turned off the chainsaw, looked up, saw his son coming in a vapor trail toward him, followed by an undulating, living fire hose stream of yellow jackets. Now, my daddy, bless his heart, got through the 11th grade. Very smart man. Didn't get to be educated much, but very smart. He just turned off that chainsaw. Of course, he took off running too. But there was this one powerful difference. We used to use those old brown jersey work gloves that your fingers go through real quick. The whole time my daddy was running, he was pulling his off. Because those gloves are just going to be in his way. Because, of course, he was running toward me. He didn't want no gloves on. Because when he got to me, he grabbed me and started pinching those yellow jackets out of my hair with his bare fingers. You see, when you love something enough that you love it more than your own well-being, now we have discovered courage.